What if you could spot every major B2B marketing trend for 2026 before your competitors do? Well, right now, most businesses miss out by sticking with last year's playbook, and it leads to lost leads and slower growth. So I'm going to show you the 7 B2B strategies that I've seen 3x our own lead intake and revenue over the last few months, and exactly how you can implement them step by step. So first, let me show you how a brand new tool saved us about 5 hours a week and brought in an extra 10 sales calls a week. So our outreach campaigns were working really well, so we decided to scale them. And with tweaks to our messaging, our open and response rates actually improved by about 10% each. But our sales calls booked dropped to 0. So I'm panicking and having an existential crisis, as that makes absolutely no sense. So I look at all of the variables and I found the culprit. You see, because of other things going on in the business, our time to reply to leads has dropped. Now, a study at MIT found that contacting a lead within 5 minutes versus 30 minutes makes you 100 times more likely to make contact and 21 times more likely to qualify the lead. Now, the issue is that we're human, so we're inconsistent, and my staff are remote, so I can't reach them with my really long whip. So I'm going to show you a simple tool you can use to guarantee you hit the 5-minute mark every single time. Now, Instantly, which is our chosen outreach tool of choice, has just released native AI agents. That means you can train a virtual employee that works 24/7, 7 days a week, and doesn't complain about not having enough food or wanting to see their family. To set this up, navigate to the AI agent mode in Instantly, then press Add New, and then select AI Reply Agent. You have 2 options, either a human in the loop, which means AI writes the response and then you approve it, or autopilot, which is fully autonomous. Now, I recommend starting with a human in the loop whilst you test it out, but once it's working, switch to fully autonomous so you get those instant replies. Next, you need to give the agent context so it knows how to reply. This may take some trial and error, hence starting with human in the loop. Once this is set up, you will see more sales calls in your diary, with the bonus of you having to do less work. Now, this next point takes about 20 minutes and will make every marketing channel you already use more effective by up to 200%. So the FBI has an interrogation technique it's been using since the 1970s. This is the same technique that has been used in clinical psychology, education and business, and sales negotiations, but we're going to use it to make our marketing better. Now, the technique is called active listening. The agent basically calmly repeats the last 1 to 3 words their counterpart said with a gentle and curious tone. This builds rapport, lowers defensiveness, and invites them to keep talking so that they can gather intel. In marketing, it's called voice of customer mirroring, and trust me, from over 5 million in ad spend, using it can double your click-through rates and roughly halve your cost per lead. So let me show you how you can actively listen to your audience and improve all of your marketing metrics. The first step is to grab transcripts of sales calls you have had with clients, ideally only those that actually closed. You can get these by using AI meeting tools such as Fireflies or Fathom. The more calls you get, the better, but I recommend a minimum of 5. Then what you want to do is run these transcripts through ChatGPT. You want to ask it to extract your target audience's pains, desires, motivations, and obstacles, all in their own words. Now, we've had clients with very successful, fleshed out market research learn key findings in terms of messaging from running this exercise, and it literally takes minutes. But if you remember, listening is only the first step. For this to work, we need to speak back to them with that voice. But how can we do that effectively? Now, about 3 to 4 years ago, when we were writing copy for ad campaigns for clients, we would use templates and manually go through each ad and write out those ads. To really nail it, just writing the copy could genuinely take about 2 weeks. And now we really needed to speed that up as we were struggling to take on more clients due to the time it took us to fulfill the work. Thankfully, I found a way to turn those 2 weeks into 20 minutes. So now I'm going to show you how you can write world-class copy that actually leads to conversions every single time. So in the last step, we used AI to perform detailed market research. But to complete our FBI interrogation technique, we need to use what they said and repeat it back to them. So what you want to do is head to ChatGPT and navigate to the My GPT section. In this section, you can train your own AI. Very similar to the Instantly agent we were using, we can train a world-class copywriter who thinks exactly like our ideal customer. Now, when you're training your GPT, add that market research you did in the last step into the knowledge base of the GPT. Now, when you want to write copy, you should still be using templates that are proven to work, but you can have the AI ensure that the words being used mirror your target audience exactly. So whenever you find a copy structure that works, turn it into a template and save it into a Google Sheet. Now, if you want to cut the testing and just get access to hundreds of prompts and copy templates that are all proven to work, we have that as part of our signature client acquisition system, the Control Growth Framework. There is a link below if you want to learn how the system works or apply to work with us. Now you know exactly how to write copy that converts, but where is the most effective place to use it in 2026. Now, we used to rely heavily on lead gen forms for a lot of our campaigns, but we found that in the last year, the cost per lead was increasing. And once we had the lead, actually getting in contact with them was almost impossible. What we did realize was that about 84% of clients we closed had at some point interacted with us in LinkedIn DMs. And only 3% of those that are closed were ever spoken to via traditional telephone call. You see, a few things have shifted. The new version of iOS has improved call screening, so unknown numbers don't even get your phone ringing. On top of that, the default method of communication has shifted. I mean, think about how you speak to your friends. Is most of it over digital comms like DMs and WhatsApp? I mean, hell, I don't even answer phone calls from people I know, let alone stranger danger calls. The good news is that I found a way to get leads to DM me directly. So not only do you get a lead, but you also already have an initial method of comms open with the prospect that you know they are active in. So now I'm going to show you how you can set this up and get high quality prospects dropping straight into your mailbox. First things first, we need to post a thought leadership ad with a lead magnet organically to our LinkedIn profile. And if you want a template to use, here's an example, you are welcome. Maybe consider leaving a like and subscribing as a thank you. Now, at the bottom of this post, we're offering to give something away. The CTA is for the prospect to DM us an action word. For example, if I'm giving away free training on business growth, the action word could be growth. Next, head to the LinkedIn Ads Manager and build a campaign targeting your ideal target audience. And then when it comes to ad creation, navigate to this browse existing content section and find your post. Now you can boost that post to your ideal target audience. There's a bonus here. Doing this actually lets you bypass needing to watch all those LinkedIn algorithm hacking videos on YouTube, which is quite nice. Now, setting this up opens up one of the most powerful tools in B2B marketing today, but 90% of the companies I consult aren't using it. In the last month, this tool has resulted in us having qualified and screened prospects being booked into my diary at £80 per booked call. Years ago, we were running ads, traffic was coming in, leads were booking calls, and yet close rates were really flat. Then we added this tool, and almost overnight, everything in that campaign clicked. It was the same traffic, it was the same ads, but now our campaigns genuinely were doing 10 times return on their ad spend, and it wasn't some genius tweak, it was just putting the right message in front of the right people again. So here's the truth. People don't buy the first time they see you, especially in B2B, but most companies treat ad campaigns or any campaign like one night stands. If someone doesn't convert right away, they just move on. But what we actually want to do is build a relationship before we ask for the close. So I'm going to show you how to build relationships with prospects without even speaking to them on autopilot to skyrocket your close rates. What we did was stupidly simple. We dropped a LinkedIn insight tag across all traffic points, and we built off and on platform audiences of people who interacted with our content. So for example, people that visited our website or who clicked on that thought leadership post we just boosted. You can do this by clicking on the audiences tab in the LinkedIn Ads Manager and selecting matched audiences. Now, anyone who touched our brand got bucketed. Then we kept feeding these buckets specific content over and over every time they visited social media. This content answered buying questions, it showed testimonials of people who had already used our service, and it also explained how our service worked. These ads built trust passively and automatically, and trust me, trust is the currency that closes deals. Plus, doing this is cheap, like ridiculously cheap. Like, why are you not running this already cheap? We've had remarketing ads that cost less than than £5 a day attributed to closing 10k clients. But all the trust in the world doesn't matter if the lead ghosts before the call, and that's where the real leak happens. Thankfully, this next strategy costs nothing and plugs that leak very quickly. Now imagine the buying journey of a prospect as a ladder. You're at the top of the ladder, woo, so high, and your prospects, they're at the bottom of the ladder, boo, all the way down there. Now the prospect buys when they climb that ladder and they join you at the top. The good and the bad news is that you are responsible for building that ladder. Now you can make them getting to the top of that ladder a lot easier or harder depending on how many steps you add to your ladder. Now we create steps on the ladder by building trust with the prospect about our company, about us as an individual, or about our product or service. Now most people have the frame of a ladder when they get someone to book a call, but what they try to do is they try to add as many steps as possible to the ladder on a really short sales call. It is chaotic. So the lead ends up not having a full understanding of your service or trusting you enough. Yet at the end of the call, you ask them to make the journey all the way up the ladder to buy. But because there's still step missing, it's really hard for the prospect to make that journey to buy. But we can add steps to the ladder before they even get to the call so that they show up pre-sold. So I'm going to show you how you can set this up so that you can close leads far more easily without having to rely on pushy sales tactics. So before the call, we want to show prospects a video sales letter. I'm going to talk you through what to put in this VSL in a second. But first, you should be sending people this VSL before their call via email, DM, and you should also add it to your funnel after someone schedules a call to increase the chances they will see it before the call. Now, what do we put in this VSL? Well, first, you want to explain the problem you help them resolve and the outcome they can expect by working with you. Then we want to talk through our background, why our system works, how it works, and we want to show results other people who have worked with us have experienced. This video doesn't need to be a complex thing either. Our VSLs are made as a presentation in Canva and shot using Loom, both of which have free versions available. Now, by implementing this, people will show up to your calls pre-sold and having already heard your perfectly presented pitch. Now that's before the call, and most B2B marketing only focuses on pre-call activities, but the best B2B marketers realize that marketing doesn't stop there, which is why only the top 1% implement this next powerful point. Now, trying to get B2B clients can feel like trying to infiltrate a fortress. It's like the company you want to work with is a castle. Now you come along with your genius solution to make their castle better with a fancy new extension to the west wing. So you stroll up to the castle and the actual king comes to the gates to hear your pitch because it sounds so promising. So you think this is a sure thing. Now after your pitch, the king disappears and you stand outside the castle waiting to be let in with all your tools. But the king never comes back. So you shout over the wall, but they just ignore you. So what went wrong? Well, the king went back to his throne room after you spoke with him. And the treasurer informed him that coin might be a bit tight, and his knights think it might make the castle vulnerable whilst the extension is being built. So the king gets talked out of the idea by his peers, and that's the end of that. So how do we resolve that situation? Because we know that if we can get inside the castle and speak to everyone, we can talk away their worries. Well, thankfully, we no longer live in medieval times, and there is a way that you can catapult your message over the castle walls and direct to every decision maker. So I'm going to show you how to win over stakeholders consistently. The bonus here is you never have to actually directly speak to any of them. So to do this, we want to set up a details page. On this page, you want to include a summary of your core offer at the top of the page. Then you want to have a video presentation that essentially presents your pitch in a succinct way. It should cover what you offer, showcase case studies and testimonials, and show exactly what is included with your service. If video isn't your strong point, you can just use a clickable presentation instead. Now beneath this, you want to include an FAQ section that has all of the common questions and objections that come up, and you want to answer or handle those objections. Now, every time you finish a call with a prospect, send them a link to this details page. Not only will they be able to see the perfect version version of your pitch, but they'll also be able to share this with the other internal stakeholders at their company who will be able to hear the pitch directly from you. Also, as a double bonus, any stakeholder that visits this page will automatically be added to your remarketing campaigns that we set up earlier in the video, meaning whenever they log into LinkedIn, they'll see you over and over again, building familiarity and trust over time. Now, these 7 B2B marketing strategies are some of the most effective you can implement in 2026 and beyond, but they're all part of a signature system I have built called the Controlled Growth Framework. If you want to learn how to implement all of this as an end-to-end client acquisition system, then you can apply to work with us via a link below. Or if you just want to learn how the full system works in its entirety, you can watch this video right here, which shows you the full framework that's been used to generate results like these for over 150 B2B service companies. It is entirely free, so I will see you over there.